Another kind of lesson that I learned before I continue is that it didn't really matter if I didn't know how to do something. I would just figure it out kind of mentality.
Hello and welcome to the Savvy Scoundrel Slayers Season 2, Episode 4 podcast. And we have a new person on today, Cygnus, and I'm joined with Taption and Fawn as usual. Unfortunately, the audio on this video did get a little scuffed, so this is actually editor honest.
So, this is what it's like to have friends.
Well, my real name is not Cygnus, I'll tell you that.
Shockers.
My actual name is Brynjar Eligia, and I'm from Iceland, but I live in Colombia. Currently, I live in Colombia, the country. Yeah.
How did you get involved in the bootcamp?
Well, the founder, and then we've invested some stuff too. Yes. The partners now is Neace, myself, and my company RMG, and Philaris. So these are the three people that are kind of financially invested in Bootcamp at the moment. But what was your question? What started me out in business? I was in school in Iceland and finished it's called like junior school. The mandatory school when you're like 15. Finished that, did that all right. And then my mom forced me to go to the next level of school. You can already tell I don't know much about the schooling system. You know? Okay, good or bad, I don't know. But I never had any interest. So basically, I went to the classes the first year and got horrible grades. The second year, I found the recreational committee. I basically got myself voted in as like chief recreational something. Basically the guy who was in charge of buying pizzas or partying. So I stayed there for the whole year, not really going to classes. I basically dropped out and started working at Domino's Pizza and construction, just menial jobs around. While I was kind of supporting myself, living outside of my parents' house. And that's where I found animation and art, where I just kind of fell in love with animation. I had no clue anything about animation. I just knew I wanted to do it. And so I found a friend of mine who was, in my opinion, still is, an exceptionally good artist. And I recruited him to what I called a club, like an art club. It was just me and him, and I couldn't draw. So, and so I kind of farmed him out just to kind of make money for the art club, me and him. And we together, obviously with consent, we together kind of founded this project where our ultimate goal was to make, an animated short film of some kind. This was like a pipe dream, really. So we made like a flyer. We went to these like nerd shops and we hang it up and we were like recruiting people. And eventually we were like 6, and I landed a couple of notable deals in Iceland to draw mascots and commercial stuff and whatever. And that kind of launched what then would become Iceland Animations, which was kind of the first traditional animation studio with kids that had no clue how to do anything. But we were really excited and we did some really, good stuff. In the end, we worked on Lazy Town. We created all the characters for Lazy Town as an example, which then is a nice learning product, which then really caught wind in America and Brazil. We also worked for Nelvana on things like Powerpuff Girls and things like that. We were doing mostly set designs and sweatshop shit for no money.
Wow.
And eventually the business got big enough that we needed to hire somebody that had any clue about financial stuff taxes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so we hired a guy who kind of became a partner in the studio. But that was kind of my first mistake, I think. I was only 18 years old, and I'm 40 today. And so what ended up happening is that the isolation animation went under because it didn't pay its taxes. Because the guy that we hired never paid the taxes. He just took it
Oh.
and then told us he paid the
Oh.
taxes. And that's what I call a life lesson. It's a harsh lesson, but it's a good lesson. So I had to pay those taxes myself. So I went back to, the pizza jobs and construction jobs and whatever. Until I've scraped enough money together where I was the guy who had a new idea every day. I was the guy that was like, you went to a family party, which I then stopped doing actually, because I was always asked the question, "What are you doing today, Brynjar?" I was not asked the question, "How do you feel?" or stuff like that. It was always like, "What are you doing today?" Because they knew whatever I had been doing before, I probably was not doing today, which was true. But my philosophy was, I'm going to keep kicking the ball towards the goal. Eventually, I'm going to score. And so, another kind of lesson that I learned before I continue is that it didn't really matter if I didn't know how to do something. I would just figure it out kind of mentality. And that was at the time where the internet was kind of starting and you could find all kinds of information online and order stuff online and meet people online and things like that. And so the kind of analogy for me was if you want to travel, on foot somewhere, as long as you see the next light post, you will end up where you plan to go. But if you knew how far it was, you probably wouldn't even start in the first place. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, not knowing how difficult things are in reality. So, fast forward a little bit. I was at a Christmas party, and this guy came along, which was a friend of my sister's ex-husband. He was in films in Iceland, worked on like Game of Thrones and kind of stuff like that. Really cool. And he had an iPhone 3G. No, he had an iPhone 2. Right. And he was like, look at this shit. He was like showing the iPhone, like flipping with a touch screen. And I was like, oh my God, that beats my fucking Motorola. Like, this is amazing. And then he said, well, you're into like programming and art and stuff. I know that Apple has this program now where you can start designing apps and games and shit. And I was like, oh, really? And so I went home, and a year later, I published my first game on iPhone, which was a very simple but beautiful game called Tilt-A-Fun. I'm sure people can find videos, trailers, things like that online now. The game was very simple. It was basically like you hold the phone and use the gyroscope to like roll a ball. But the ball was like a monster that was eating candies, right? Because I was on the kind of idea that it had to be like not a ball, but something else.
Right.
And it was just me and another guy programming this thing. And we spent about $4,000 on this. And we made about $80,000 from this.
Wow.
That really, because we launched it with like one of the first games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking on Discord. Here's a cool thing. I'm gonna Google. I completely forget his name, but there was a company called Open Faint, right?
Open
Faint. Yeah, Open Faint was one of the first people to publish on the App Store as well. And the founder, Jason Citron, or that's right, Jason Citron, he we went to a game developers conference in San Francisco because of our success to meet with other developers and things like that. And we met with Jason Citron, and that was really cool. He was very like enthusiastic, and it was all about these match three. He was the first match three before even Candy Crush came out. That was really
Wow.
what Open Faint was. And he was really into dash games, like cooking dash and gardening dash and whatever. With him was a guy called Paul Neurath, who was the founder of Thief, Ultima Underworld, worked with John Carmack, Quake, really old guy, really cool guy. And he kind of bought into like a game idea that I had, as well as Jason Citron. And Jason today, if you guys want to know what Jason Citron did, he's the owner of Discord.
Oh,
Wow.
So he turned Open Faint to, I believe it was like a $70 million exit, and then he founded Discord, and he
Wow.
still is with Discord.
Wow.
And the next game we did was a game called Thor. Ended up being called something else because we got sued by Marvel.
Wait, really?
Unlucky.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Tiny little game just releases called Thor. They're like,
Yeah, we didn't have to pay.
Can't
We
do
didn't
that.
have to pay anything, but they forced us to change the name, basically. But the funny thing is, what Thor was a collaboration with a studio in Iceland called Chaos, which was a 3D animation studio that was releasing their first fully animated 3D movie called Thor. So they had to change that movie name as well. I came in there and met with Hilmar, was the CEO at the time of Chaos. And because I had a friend there called Bjarki, who was an animator. And this is by the time I'd already been to an animation school called Animation Mentor, where he was also in my classes. And he came to me and was like, "Yo, so we're unemployed, basically receiving unemployment benefits, not illegally, but that was the government sponsoring Chaos while they were finding funding for the movie." And so he said, "Why don't you make a game for us? I'm pretty sure Hilma will let you use all the employees at Chaos if you just handle the programming." So I went there, like, we split the 50-50. We did the game, and it was fantastic. It was like the first runner games, where you just endless runner games, but it was like a side-scrolling runner game.
right.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that game, I mean, it's kind of shit, but it was like on iPhone 3G. But that game got stuck on the Apple Store during Christmas, which was crazy because they wouldn't update the front page. But the game was there, our game, so we sold like 1 million copies, just like crazy.
Wow.
And that kind of helped fund the actual movie, which was pretty cool because they would show the game to investors, they would show the sales, and the investor would be like, "Yeah, oh, the movie did really bad." It ended up coming out and just failed completely. But the game did not fail, and I'm proud of that. After that, I went to my next game project. The studio was called On the Rocks Games, and I wanted to make a Diablo-esque game because I was very young and enthusiastic. This was 2009, 10 years ago.
Which
And the game-
isn't that like a year or two before League of Legends was created?
Yeah. And so Legion of Amon was, now I might be kind of confusing my timelines here. Actually, yes, because I first went to EVE Online with a pitch with Paul Neurath to create a digital card collecting game based on the EVE universe. which they then ended up declining. And that was in 2000 and I forget. But it was about 6 years before Hearthstone came out. It was I still have the game design document, and it's the same, just not World of Warcraft.
Wait, I feel like I've heard the guy Paul's name before. The name sounds familiar.
Paul Neurath? I don't think
Yeah.
you've heard that name. But I have my business partner is Paul Sams, who was the CEO of Blizzard.
Okay. I was like, that name's okay. It's just the Paul that sounded familiar.
Right. A lot of Pauls. So yeah, we did that, and then Legion of Aemon. Legion of Aemon was supposed to be a Diablo-esque kind of game, and there's plenty of like, still concept arts of that game. Now, because it was iPhone 3G, my visuals that I produced were so much better than what the device could actually do.
Yeah.
So, and I was very excited, and I had a lot of connections like with Pocket Gamer and IGN and whatever. And I was like, yeah, we're working on our third game. Here's some of our concept art. It's fucking awesome. It's going to be a Diablo, blah, blah, blah. And we got so much hype that it ended up on several top 10 most anticipated iPhone games of 2009. And I got so many calls from different publishers, one of which was Freeverse and NGMogo, both of which were in San Francisco, that both wanted to fly me over and talk about some sort of a publishing deal. And I went over there and we signed a deal, only to find out that later, first of all, I didn't want to release the game because it was fucking shit. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise that the Disney bought my developer partners 3 Melons, and by de facto had to buy out the project with me. So I didn't lose money. I actually made money of the game without having to release that garbage and tank my reputation. And that game, became the most missed abandonware 2010, which is pretty cool. Then in the middle of all this thing, a guy came called Thodor Beck, or Tote Beck. He was one of the founders of E, and representing him like E Online and CCP, we represented like that. And he was like, yo, Bryn, you have a lot of talent. Like you got the X factor, you can win the American Idol in gaming. And I just got stars in my eyes and was, oh my God, this like big executive guy in Iceland that has made like massive MMOs, super successful, wants me to be his creative, officer, like chief creative officer of his new game, Beyond Ever After, whatever that was going to be. And that was the worst mistake I ever done in my life, because I ended up spending 4 years not really doing anything, but funding. Several $1 million of funding were just poured into that company because of this guy's quote unquote repetition. He was the founder of CCP, sure, but he got kicked out of CCP before the game even came out because he was a drug addict and a crazy person. And that guy he's still today, he's in Malta trying to make that game today. Like, he's been trying to do that forever, and just so much money lost. And I don't even think he's ever going to make a game, to be honest. But that was a terrible experience to be because I think if I wouldn't have been so dumb and just take his offer and signed that deal with that studio, I probably would have made more iPhone games and probably would have flown more into that direction, right? There are many stories I can tell from that company, NARC, that are crazy. Like one day, 4 a.m., I got a phone call from him and said, everybody needs to come to work. Everybody needs to be working. I have some big guys coming over, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 4 a.m. and we had 40 people that was calling in just randomly. And we all came there. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on, but nobody says no to him, right? And then he just brought over his friends. And he was like, yeah, this is my staff. And it was just so ridiculous. I can't even describe it. He would ask the handyman, right? without telling anybody, to create a 3-light gadget and hang it in front of his office. It would be a red light, it would be a yellow light, and it would be a green light. It would be wired all the way back where his desk would be, so he could control the lights with like switches. And so green, you can come without knocking, he said. Red, no knocking. Don't even knock. And then yellow was you can knock. And then he had some stuff which I can't forget, like green and yellow meant something, yellow and like this is fucking ridiculous. All lights meant something. I want coffee or something. I don't fucking know. And people that came there was just like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like,
that's so weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. Our chief engineer was Jewish, and he thought it was a good idea. He thought it would be a good idea to do a prank on him. I remember this day, like it was yesterday. It was like fucking the people were livid. So in the middle of the night, he would take this tape recorder thing. There was like the male toilet. If you went into that, it was like a small toilet. On the side, inside the toilet, there was like a closet that you could open with like brooms and stuff, like cleaning products. He would put that tape recorder there in the middle of the night and then turn it on.
Stop!
Oh my god, you gotta be making this up.
A speech from Hitler. Oh. Yeah. And then he waited for David Brandt to go in there and just lose his shit.
Oh my
wow.
God.
He was absolutely nutcase.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh my god.
And you said he was still working for the same company?
What else is there? One day I came to work. There's an endless amounts of stories. One day I came to work and he had hired like 10 puppeteers and like miniature model makers. And they had taken the whole conference room and they were making this ugly ass miniature model where then Tote would be like with a camera, like and like a Playmobil thing, and it would be like, oh, this is the camera in the game. This is the camera in the game. And I was like, what the fuck you do? We could do this in 3D. Like if we could do it in the engine. He was like, no, I want it like hands-on. And it did even an investor pitch where he did use that giant model and like then like, what the fuck am I watching here? You know?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, I'm telling you. So I went to one of those investor meetings where he had this third party kind of raised money for this project, but this third party guy, no clue what we're doing. And he thought it was a good idea to do what he then did. Basically, he called me and asked me if I want to sit one of those meetings. And we were talking about like, there was like 5 meetings every week where he would like get small amounts of money invested into his company. Then he would use that money to invest in that company that I worked for, right?
Right.
I don't know. And he asked me if I could sit one of those meetings. I was like, sure. And I came there, was a room packed full. We're talking 50 people. And these were like farmers and like chefs and just working class, like fishermen and stuff. They just like rounded up, right? And I'll tell you how he rounded them up after this fact. But then I sat down, he turned down the light, and then he said, what are you about to see is the trailer of the game that we're making. Now, mind you, I was the chief creative officer. I made no fucking trailer. I had made no trailers. Like, I had 0 trailers. So I was super excited to see what the fuck he was going to show. And he showed the new Skyrim trailer as it was coming out. And then he said, this is the game we're making. Literally said that to people. And I think all of these people invested. But I went back. Absolutely. And I went, now this guy was old. He didn't know anything. Like, he was just dumb. And then I went to the company and said, this can't go on. Like, you can't be selling people Skyrim trailers and just, what is this? I'm so confused. And how the hell did he find these people? What he did.
Oh, no.
Blows your mind is that he would buy these phone numbers, by just thousands and thousands of phone numbers, and he'd call them all up, and he would have this speech ready where he would say something like, have you heard about CCP? And if you're in Iceland, you have, because it's the largest game studio in Iceland. Okay, have you heard about EVE Online? You know, mostly people say yes. And then he would say like, if you could go back in time and invest in CCP, would you do it? And everybody says yes, because CCP is like a multi-billion-dollar company today, right? Well,
Yeah.
I have good news for you, because the founder of CCP, yada, 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 new thing. Then that's just this bullshit story.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty big brain though.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
honestly is a great pitch.
Yeah. Like
He reeled them in real good.
yeah, for real.
Maybe
like,
with not the truth, but he had the principle of reeling them in.
I mean, it's really the Skyrim trailer for me.
I don't know what to say. Well, it kind of ended up where, most of us just, actually it ended that most of the people left the company, right? And we had so many investors that we didn't want to burn, and you kind of felt, because it was like Toti's fault for not delivering on the promise, because what ended up is that he got caught by the police driving extremely fast on drugs, and that kind of was the end of that for him to be part of that company. He just got kicked out. It's kind of reminiscent to what happened with CCP as well. Kind of the same thing.
That'll do
And
it.
so we were
That'll do it.
So we were left with a company, a lot of investors, no product, and we had to figure out what to do with that. That's kind of where this company Jivaro got born, out of the ashes of that company. And Jivaro did fine. It's done now, but I did fine for a time being.
And you were there for 4 years?
Yeah, I was there for about 4 years. And then I had a stint with Jivaro, which was a different company, but the same, but still different. Different product, different management, and everything.
And this was 2009?
This was like 2009
finished?
to 2015, something like that. I then just started working for PokerStars and Party Poker, and in the gaming space there. I kind of left gaming kind of behind me for a while, and I was working as an advisor and just making okay money and stuff like that. I then started working with Tyler on stakings.com, which is an incredibly successful company today. We founded another company called RMG, which is like a production company for other companies, and we did bunch of like third-party projects there. I then moved to Colombia. We founded like an esports company, which is still in production. Can't really talk too much about that, but that's where Paul Sams was the ex-CEO of Blizzard from 1995 to 2015, before it got shit. Is an advisor for. And yeah, I also founded a game studio here that I own in Colombia, and that's kind of my passion right now. Obviously met with Neace as well. I've known Neace for a long time, like very long time.
When did you first meet Neace?
The origin story of Neace was basically I just watched this content, right? And I was like playing League and whatever. And what I kind of failed to say is that in the end of that game company Narc that Toti Beck had, I had given up doing anything for that game that I didn't even know what it was about. So all I was doing was playing League of Legends, and then doing League of Legends music for Planet Kill on YouTube, like millions of views on that shit. And I was just working with like Hotshot GG on setting up his stream on own3d.tv, and then later helping him migrate over to Twitch as well, like Saint Vicious and Double Lift and all that, those guys. And then I designed their logo, CLG logo, which then Hotshot never paid me for, which I didn't give a shit about because it wasn't a thing. Like esports was not a thing. And then it became a thing, and he sold his company for $10 million to Madison Square Garden with my logo. And I was kind of mad. So
I'd be a little upset about that one too.
You're like, wait a second, hold up. You sold for how much?
You say what?
Yeah. And I contacted Neace. I was like, yo, I got a story, bro. And that's, I think, how we got mad. Just like looking at our potential of making a video, just exposing CLG and whatever. But that all ended fine. I have no grudges to CLG today or any of that stuff. But I have a good friend with his Neace, and we did the bootcamp, and that was fantastic. I also want Neace to kind of be like a quote-unquote advisor for my game studio. You know, I just wanted to play the game, play the fucking game when we publish it. So that's my origin story. That is an hour-long story. There you go.
That was a good one.
It's actually closer to 30 minutes.
It's the good Cygnus cross backstory. that we
No, that's awesome.
didn't
What?
know.
So you've always been interested in gaming,
Yes.
basically ever since school.
Pretty much, yes.
Ever since you skipped school a lot and partied.
Yeah, I don't really recommend skipping school, but for me, I mean, I'm self-taught for most of the stuff that I have, and if I lost everything today, I have skills to make money on my own today. I can do graphic design. I could do some programming. I do whatever,
Yeah.
right? That is something that, I look at the youth today. Like, I have two daughters, a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they're both very like anxious what to do, blah blah blah. And like, I look at like so many people in this world just don't know how to be self-sufficient because society forces them into that norm, if you will.
Yes.
Right. But the thing is, not everybody wants to go out of the norm, because out of the norm is incredibly difficult. I would, in my animation studio, live under my desk and eat baked beans and just do whatever I needed to do to make it work. And it was not easy. And it's not easy when you don't know if you're going to be successful or not. Especially with like your family asking you, what are you doing today? What's happening this? What is happening that? You're asking your mom for money. Your mom is like, you gotta stop this, But no, it's most people will pick the security, right? And this is very much when I look at people today and I look at people like, okay, so I have this product, I have this company, I have this thing. Do I want to pay this person good amount of money every month, or do I want to invest equity in that person? And the answer is always around the person, because equity means dick to people once they can't pay their bills, right?
Yeah.
But there are some people where they don't care. Jordan, for example, is that kind of person. He will just eat grass.
Yeah.
If it means no, seriously, he's kind of like me. He'll just eat grass if that's what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot expect people to work as hard as you on your product, right?
Yep.
So if you give them like a stake in your company, you better make sure that they're the kind of people that if the paycheck doesn't come in 1 month, they don't just leave, because then you wasted that equity on nothing. Then you might as well just have paid them good salaries, and kept that equity to yourself.
So
Maybe I'm rambling a little bit.
So
that's what we like. We like that.
All
That's what
good.
we're here for.
I wanted your input on SSS. Obviously,
shit.
we've all stayed together, right? We met Bootcamp 2,
Yeah.
right? Like that was when you did the whole community host thing, right? It was right
yes.
after Bootcamp 2.
Caption wasn't on there.
No, I wasn't
Correct.
there.
Caption wasn't there.
I
yeah.
actually, it's so funny
He was
how
grinding leak.
Yeah,
True.
I met Caption when I was scrolling through the one viewer Andes on Twitch and just clicked on one. And literally was watching and like talking to him in the chat, and he was so freaking funny. And
Caption's
he got
funny?
rated by somebody and then hit affiliate that day.
Basic
Yo.
knowledge.
I'm funny.
I was like, nice.
You should
Let's
you
go.
should hear
And we've
Caption
been-
in the Clash comms. He's pretty funny.
It's
Oh, yeah.
true. He roasts us. And so I just kind of like brought him into bootcamp after I did it.
Okay.
And-
well, you're a little bit funny too, because like we were playing a game with you, I believe, and it was a norms game with Fawn and you and SG.
Yeah.
And I was like, 2 deaths in, I already knew that you died twice top. It was just like, there was nobody else.
Yep. Yeah, I freaking int if I'm playing a lane. I don't know what it is. Actually, mid lane I'm not
your
bad
mid's
anymore.
good. We win.
Yeah.
We win the all of the Clash games, the Clash tourneys that we've won. You've been mid lane.
It's true. I've never won a Clash tournament in the jungle, and jungle's my main role.
Really?
Maybe that's saying something about
Wow.
your choices.
I should teach you how to play Rengar. I actually want to teach Fawn how to play Rengar. Can you imagine how funny that would be? It's just like
That would
bopping
be
people.
hilarious.
Yeah, guys. When I hit Diamond and my account is all Rengar games, it's not because I know Rengar main and Diamond.
Are you gonna
Wait,
link
wait.
your account?
It was me. Trust.
I actually got an account. What's her name? Kanuk.
Oh, Canacat.
Yes. She lent me her account. It's silver, and she's now. I think she's gold, but her account got banned for 15 days for elo boosting.
Oh.
Oh.
And she was like, "Don't worry about it." I didn't know either, but apparently, like, they know I'm logging in, and
wow,
there are different stats and stuff.
That's so funny. I'm not gonna lie, that's really funny.
it's probably because of like the volume of games that they'd played before.
Yeah.
To when you started playing on it is like probably a drastic difference in the gameplay.
Oh no, she's silver 1. Yeah. She's silver 1 now. I wasn't able because it got banned so fast. But basically, I don't know if you can even include this in this or whatever. But this is, where do I post something?
You can just do it in podcast stuff.
Yeah. This is like when I left the account.
Oh.
100% win rate.
It's like I wonder
20
how that
games.
happened. Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is where she got banned, I think.
I found the real like strat now though for League is you get a duo partner, and Honest kept telling me this. You get a duo partner and you force people not to FF. Because there was like 4 games that I played, or my team, our whole team tried to FF, and my duo partner, we were the only 2 people that said no. You force people to play the game, and then you win.
Yep.
Right.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
often.
Do you notice something in this little thing? 1, 2, 3, 4,
You
5,
literally
6,
play
7,
a
8.
different champion every game.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, that is probably a clear sign of.
Because I wanted to show SG, for example, like, it's not the champion. Champion has nothing to do with it. It is only macro and macro only in this ELO. Because people argue with me about this. Okay, they do, but I'm very firm that in this ELO, bronze, silver, gold, even you can win games by just being like capitalizing on other people's mistakes, especially if you're playing jungle, like, especially. And so not dying is a very big part of that. I died the most on Viego. I feel for SG, like, that is
Yeah, Viego is hard. I can't play Viego, and he's probably the closest thing to Master Yi. Right. But yeah, what are your thoughts on SSS?
Actually, I don't know much about it. I know that you guys are a team,
and we record podcasts, obviously.
And now you record podcasts, which I've not listened to.
That's right.
I nobody told me about it, you know.
Oh.
Wow. And you have a server, which I'm not sure what's about either. You guys gonna have to tell me a little bit about it, so I can give you.
Well, so basically, we were originally just going to be a league team that would play in the scrims every week, right? And we would get owned every week.
Every week.
It was originally Anti-Hero on the top lane. That we then got a Korean import top laner, Tapshin.
Yeah.
To play when Anti was gone. And then
Tapshin, let me ask you a question. Do you own a rice cooker?
I do have one at my house, yes.
Damn it. Okay. One score for Polaris then.
Did you make a better with them on if an Asian guy or a person is going to own a rice cooker at his house or not?
No, Pilar says that every single Asian person owns a rice cooker. And I know at least one person, my friend that's Asian, that does not own a rice cooker. And that makes Pilar's racist. So I was hoping you didn't have a rice cooker so I could throw that in his face too.
Man, I'm just stereotypical Asian, I guess. I couldn't break the mold.
But yeah, and so we made this Discord server to like basically just like have a space where we could get into a VC without a whole bunch of other people joining, because Fawn became a community host, I became a mod, and SG became mod and all that. And so we would be like, if we hopped into a VC, like everybody else was going to go into that VC, right? So they think something's going on, but we're really just playing a game of League. And
Okay.
and so we created this server to like play, but then we started making the podcast, and this was in December of last year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We recorded a podcast every week for like, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 months. We like got people watching and invited people to the server, and so then I kind of made roles so that way we would still have our little space,
Uh-huh.
but
So,
that way if
so how
people
many
wanted
people
to join,
listen
they
to the
could.
VOD?
I think we just had the most that we've ever had, 48 if people watched the
Okay.
last one.
That one, I think the shorter content is like people are
Yeah.
enjoying that one
I
was
think
like
the
6
longer
minutes
ones people typically stray away. So I've started like
Okay.
taking the podcast and making it into short, like more consumable
And do you have
videos.
like an overarching theme? Like,
Most of the time it's
some
about
people feel
League.
like that.
Yeah,
Most of the time it's
mostly
about
League of
League.
Legends. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know.
And so just like the struggles of gold, right?
Yeah.
And how we're all bad.
Yeah.
But we're all bad together. So
True. True. I don't know about
and we
y'all, but
remain
then
bad
I
together.
was when we started, right? I've improved since we started, not by much, but a little bit.
Same. And SG
So just-
climbed, arguably, you know, I don't know if he climbed, but
Magic. Magic.
yeah, he magically climbed a
did
whole
good.
division.
You did well. You did well.
Yeah, he's been playing on his mind until he's like in a game with me. Then like for some reason plays different. But
It's kind of struggling right now. Tell me, this Video Ninja, is that some third party application that you guys?
yeah, we literally found this. So we were trying to find a way to record each person's audio on a separate track.
Yeah.
So that way, like let's say
You can
SG's
edit
dog
it
bark
better.
in the middle of someone talking, right? Or my
Exactly.
girlfriend walks in or whatever. Like we could
Right.
mute that part without it interfering with whatever someone's talking about, right? So that way we could do it in one fluid recording.
I still think this is pretty cool, though. I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, I like it. I like.
Honest is our
It's-
mastermind behind the podcast, and the rest of us just show up.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
I basically do
Yeah.
all of it. I do the editing.
Yeah.
I do the whole OBS setup, all of it.
Yeah.
But I just wrangle all the people up. Oh, all right, this week we're recording another one because I don't have anything to upload this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think that if y'all want some sort of like feedback, some things are just meant to be what they are, like a community and just hobby or whatever, in that sense. But if you wanted to do some sort of business case or something out of that, I could certainly comment on that later.
Yeah,
down the road.
if we wanted to scale SSS, what's your
Right.
professional advice?
We want to be the next offline TV, right? That's what
right.
that's what
Offline
Honest is trying
TV
to-
or something of that nature. Maybe not that extreme. I mean, I don't think we're all gonna room together, but
Well, if you really want my opinion on that, I would say that doing bite-sized content is always really successful. And so you guys are now dabbling in long format, like 45 an hour, things like that. And if you do bite-sized content, you could do a different series, right? Where you just review indie games or iPhone games or whatever. And I know like maybe iPhone gaming is not very exciting stuff, right? But I can tell you there's a lot of money in it. And if you guys build like an IP around U3, U4, U5, playing the same iPhone game together, somehow wire that up so people can see, we're just like testing out 3 games a day or whatever. Before you know it, you'll have a really dedicated following because there's a lot of people in that space. And I think there's less people doing that than, for example, iPhone, PC gaming, right?
right.
But yeah, I mean, as an example, or you can specialize and branch out. Like if I would do a podcast, I would probably only try to talk to game developers and designers and people in the industry and make a podcast around that, right? So I think that finding the theme or the topic for the project that you guys then later want to monetize is very important, and that it's very clear, right?
Right. So keeping it consistent and everything is.
But I think it's just fine doing it for fun too. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're gonna be spending $1,000 per guest, like you're paying me $1,000 here, that might run you out quickly.
Honest, you're gonna cover for
JS
that, right?
is gonna watch it. JS is gonna watch this and be like, "Yeah, you pay me $1,000."
Yeah, we had JS on one of the episodes, and we had him watch like right before a team fight in a Clash game. We had him watch it was like 15 seconds before the fight was about to start, and then we're like, "Do we win this?" And he's like,
"All I can say is
probably not. No."
all I can say is his advice to us was pill for fun. That's all I. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
That's all I'm saying.
Are you sure
that's not that out there?
Are you sure you just heard that part and nothing else?
But y'all remember that one fight in Clash on Saturday? And I was like, please. I keep dying every fight for y'all. Just pill for me. Y'all just pill for me. And Lola was like, pill for fun. And y'all finally pill for me. Simba pill for his life, and I lived. And the fight was over, and the game was over.
And so we've just kind of been doing it for fun, but obviously, like, we've also been, me and Fawn have been streaming pretty consistently. Right. I know that SG kind of stopped
consistently.
I guess that's fair. I've been streaming consistently.
You've been streaming consistently. I streamed today.
Well, I think it's about you're gaining experience and you're gaining like know-how on how to do this.
I'm learning a lot about video editing.
Like upping the quality and adding stuff. I mean, I'm sure this is night and day from your first podcast, right?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
So once you build that experience and up the quality and whatever, then you do consistent stuff. Like there's like people that are just doing podcasts where they're just playing tabletop games,
Yeah.
People watch that and think it's hilarious and a lot of fun because it's about the personalities, right? So people don't really watch Neace. Neace, I hope you're watching because I mean this. They don't really watch Neace because it's his amazing personality. All right. They watch him because of the educational content and
to see people get roasted.
Toxicity. Yeah, see people get roasted, things like that. It's kind of a good way to put it, right? Because there's a relatable factor there. People that are watching him are not going to be like your master players, right? They're going to be in the same ELO as the people they're coaching.
Yep.
Right?
Because 90% of the community are in there.
True.
And one ELO higher. So if you're like coaching a silver guy and a gold guy is watching, he's going to be like, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I knew. What a noob. It's going to be right there.
He'll be like, yeah, I'm just like me. So I knew all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that.
I think that, I feel like if we're more consistent.
And you post all of this stuff on YouTube now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just under Savvy Scoundrel Slayers.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having several different stuff going on at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm very much of that same, like how you were saying, like, I can figure it out kind of mindset. Like I'm literally the exact same way. Like I freaking, I apply for jobs, like, cause I just got laid off. Like I think the end of this month is my last day technically. And everyone's like, like, are you okay?
Casually.
I'm like,
he's excited about it.
Yeah. Like now I get to continuously apply for jobs that are way outside of my range. Like my experience, right? And the first person who gives me an interview, it's done. Like I'm just gonna go learn that,
Absolutely. And I think that, for example, with video editing is like chess. It's extremely easy to start doing it, and then to master it is very, very difficult, right?
Yeah.
But you can go a long, long way with just a tiny bit of knowledge, right? So you can start editing for streamers. Like, look at the bootcamp stuff. Like, that's like,
Yeah,
it's
it was
so
like
easy.
so. It was like when I was looking at it, I was like, it's like, oh, they didn't do anything fancy.
No, nothing.
I was like, dang,
we just record it. Maybe we cut it somewhere and then we just post it, right?
Yeah,
And same with a lot of streamers. Like, if you know how to cut, then your next step is to, maybe zoom in a little bit on the streamer's face, or
yeah,
make the screen black and white and then make a strange noise, like when somebody comes out of a brush, whatever. Like, that's like what a lot of people are doing now. But you can take that so far. But if you just know these basics, like fast cutting and inject a little bit of humor in there, you can make good money helping streamers. You can literally do a full-time job just working with 5 streamers, literally, that are small time. You probably make $2,000 a month.
yeah, which is solid, honestly, especially for a newbie video editor. Like,
as a start. So you can, like, for example, if I was like new in this industry, I would just go and to a different discourse where people are looking for editors, right? There's plenty of them. Streamers are looking for editors and whatever. And I just would throw myself out there, and then I would make a deal with the streamer where I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be a new streamer. They don't have a YouTube channel. I'll help you set all that shit up. And we split it 50-50.
right.
And that's basically what Neace does as well. So Mo, he makes 50% of everything Neace makes on YouTube, and he does really well. And so if you're learning it and you want to like do it, then it's okay to get the experience, quote unquote, free for different streamers while you're doing the job, because otherwise you'd be in school and you'd be paying for getting that experience.
Yeah, the same amount of experience and losing
Right. And who knows?
hundreds of
Maybe
thousands
one of those
dollars.
streamers will hit it up, and most streamers will quit and eventually anyways, and then you'll move on to the next one and another one and whatever. So
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
yeah, that's kind of what I was with all of the SSS guys when we were first streaming. I was like, yo, I'll do all of your videos. You guys don't need to worry about it at all. I'll do
Gonna
it
do
all.
my YouTube. He's gonna
Right?
do my YouTube
I'll do
channel.
stream highlights, whatever. You just let me know what you need. And they're all
Well, I
like,
don't
yeah,
think-
let's do it. And then SG didn't stream a single time after that conversation, right?
That's sure.
Right.
Caption streamed a couple times, I think.
Yeah.
And then Fawn streamed a few, but
Yeah, I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket with Fawn unless her mom is streaming too.
Well, one thing is, Honest says that he'll do all that stuff for me, but then he actually doesn't really do anything. He's like, he has 100 things to do because he says all these things like, I'll do this, and then when he actually has time to do something, he just sits there and like tries to decide what he should do, and like he just goes play.
I do have a hard time sometimes keeping myself.
If
That's
Fawn, if Fawn is going to be a successful streamer, she needs to change topics.
So what do you mean?
To what?
She'll be a fantastic unboxing streamer. Person that goes into Toys R Us, buys a new toy, unboxes it on stream, and plays with it a little bit for kids. She's gonna get millions of views, millions and millions of views.
A
Unboxing.
Minecraft
Okay, go.
streamer.
I thought about it.
Have you
Thought about
seen
it.
those streamers?
I've seen a little bit, like the
unboxing
unboxing streamers. Yeah, I've seen a little
For
bit.
kids.
I see a lot of those
There's
are tech people, tech unboxing.
Toy unboxing, 2.3 million views.
What
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
2.3 million. Blind bag treehouse unboxing, 2.4 million views.
Literally, my sister watches some random like kid and his dad like unbox all sorts of different toys.
Here's a person that mini brand series for blind bag capsule miniature unboxing. This person has 1.85 million subscribers. All she does is unbox toys.
I need
My
to
mom
head to
is
the store.
subscribed to probably all of those, and that's
Ah.
because
Here's
my little
the video.
sister has watched
Sonic
all.
the Hedgehog vinyl mini series full case, 18 million views.
It's been real, y'all. I'm quitting League of Legends. I will no longer be playing Riot Games. I'm going to Walmart right now. It's thank you for your time.
Literally. I mean, for kids, if you think about it, for kids, this was like watching somebody play a game that you wanted to play.
Yeah, but the problem is I like saying fuck, right? And so like you can't do that if you're unboxing toys for children. That's the problem.
You can.
You should
You
be like,
can if you have a good editor.
Hey, hi.
Well,
Freelance
you got your
work.
work cut out
You
for
fuck
Yes.
you.
shit up, you know?
Trying to make me family friendly. You got you. Ugh. I remember I was really scared when I was doing the interview for community host. And my mom was like, "Are they gonna look at your stream?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Bro, like you curse a lot. Like you are not family friendly. Like, is that okay?" And I got really scared. And then I remember listening to a Neace like stream, and I was like, "That should be good. That should be fine."
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, Cygnus. It was fun.
Thank you.
I love it. And that's all that we got for today. Slayers out.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.